If you think a dead bedroom is painful, wait until you see the $500,000 price tag of divorce. Men, this holiday season might be your last chance to save your marriage and avoid losing everything. Your kids, your home, your future. Stay with me till the end because I'm going to show you how to stop this nightmare before it starts.
We're going live.
No. We'll do it live.
This is the Come On Man podcast. And here's your host, Paul Bauer.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to the show. Happy Hump Day. If you are new to the channel, my name is Paul Bauer, and I help men level up and get better with women. The funny thing about leveling up and getting better with women is that when we do, it tends to make us better in all areas of our lives. So today, I'm going to give you 10 financial costs of divorce for men. All right. Now, you know when men say it's cheaper to keep her? It really is. It really is. The cost of divorce is staggering. All right. Ask most men who've gone through it. If you or your wife had an amicable, geez, I need more coffee. All right, hold on. If you and your wife have had an amicable divorce, consider yourself lucky because that is the exception, not the rule. All right. Now, if you're in a toxic situation, I do not advocate for you to stay in that situation. Okay. If you're in a toxic situation, it's worth the expense to get out of it. All right. MGTOW guys might watch this episode and even go so far as to use this information to tell men to not get married. And I respect that. I actually do. The way our family court system is set up, it makes little sense for men to get the government involved in their relationships. Okay. Now, that being said, many men did not get that memo. Many men did not get that memo, and many of those guys aren't in toxic situations. Their wives have simply just lost attraction for them, and they aren't putting out anymore. Okay? Like she'll say, I love you, but I'm not in love with you. Right? Every time you initiate, she's got a headache or something like that. But otherwise, things are generally pretty good. Okay? And if they do put out, it's out of obligation. And even then it's rare. Okay. So if she's lost that attraction, she might not even be cheating per se. Okay. But she is probably thinking about ending things. All right. A lot of guys in the red pill space really like to harp on the girls cheating, right? Like women cheating. A lot of women don't cheat. Okay. What they'll do is they won't be putting out with you, but they will be living out their we're not at the 8-minute mark. Their sexual fantasies by reading trashy sex novels and using toys. Right? Like they're getting theirs. The women aren't going without here. Okay. They're not just going celibate on you. All right. They're getting theirs. But you're just not getting yours because she's lost all sexual attraction to you. And we have to talk like children until the 8-minute mark. It's freaking sad. All right. So, but the thing is, here's the thing. She's probably thinking about ending things. A lot of women, especially if they have a bunch of single friends, a bunch of women that like a bunch of their friends have also recently gone for divorce. Those women are in her ear going, girl, what are you doing? Girl, you know your worth, girl. Like, and they will pull her into their misery. Right? And a lot of guys have no idea it's coming. A lot of guys have no idea she's even thinking about divorce. And a lot of women will be planning their escape up to 2 years before they actually pull that trigger, right? So her not having the segs with you is a damn air horn. It's a goddamn warning signal that things are not okay, brother. Oh, but, you know, she says that things are, you know, things naturally slow down over time, right? Like after you have kids, like it's just normal for things. No, it's not. It's not freaking normal. All right. She's losing attraction for you. And in our modern culture, where they basically give women cash and prizes for leaving you, they're incentivized to do it. So they will. And women file for 80% of the divorces, and we have a 50% divorce rate, right? For first-time marriages. It goes up even higher for second-time marriages. So we're going to be talking about the top 10 financial costs of divorce for men. Okay. Now, number 7 is a huge one too, and most men don't even think about it. Number 7 put me in $20,000 in debt after my divorce just by itself. And that doesn't include all the other costs that I had to pay over the years, right? So number 7 alone. So not like, I really want you guys to pay attention to this, because some of these are things that you won't even think about. All right. Now, before we get into all of this, do be sure to like, subscribe, hit those notifications. I do have new episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. If you guys are watching live right now, please sound off in the live chat. We have about 20 people watching across the interspace, the interwebs. This is streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, and X. But I would like, if you guys are on X or Facebook, I would like you guys to come on over to Facebook, or I'm sorry, come on over to YouTube if you can. I really like people to consolidate over on YouTube. It's a much more fun experience. And then when you do, you can send a super chat to help support the show. I know y'all have the money. Y'all have $500 super chats to send these 304s. All right. at least consider sending a ducat or two if you're finding this content helpful. All right. We do have some people in the chat right now. We have Nurse Chicks in the house. She says, good morning, gentlemen. Happy hump day. Hope everyone is having an amazing week so far. And Nurse Chick gets this one.
I'm so naughty.
Yes.
I'm going to come.
Yeah, I am. If you guys didn't know, Nurse Chick, she's my main squeeze. Laura Sotu says, hi from Houston. Hey, good morning, Laura. And then Young Villain says, legend. Thanks, man. Ben says, be sure to read thepubliccourt.com. You can learn a lot about the custody evaluation scam. Ooh, what's that? The custody evaluation scam. Laura says, can you do a future show on women who track and trace their husbands on their iPhones? I think it's crazy and do not believe in doing this. Curious Ken's thoughts on the topic, or men's thoughts. Okay, typo. You know, I know a guy who's tracking his wife's every move. He's doing all sorts of stuff to snoop on her, including he's connected to her what's it called? Her WhatsApp, you know, because you can link WhatsApp accounts on different phones and stuff like that. So he like got into her phone one time and linked her WhatsApp account to his phone so he could see all of her messages and stuff like that. It's crazy. It's cray. Oh man. Okay, guys. So the first cost. Now, most of you guys know about this one, right? You might not know how much it is, but you're probably have heard of this, right? But alimony payments. Alimony payments, some states, they call it maintenance, right? Maintenance. In Colorado, it's called maintenance, right? But alimony maintenance is the same thing. Depending on the length of the marriage and income disparity. And what's income disparity? It means, let's say you make $100,000 a year and she was a stay-at-home mom, right? There's an income gap there. And really what the state wants is you take a woman who's, you know, you meet her, she's at this level economically, but you've raised her to this level by being married to her. The state won't let her drop down to this level anymore. Now she's accustomed to this level, and now you owe it to her because you brought her up to this level. Even though she did no work to get there, the only work she did was working your knob. The state will reward her with that, right? So income disparity. So you're a rich attorney, you're making $300,000 a year, and then you marry the barista at Starbucks. Okay, there's a massive income disparity there, and the state will ensure that you're paying her a level to bring her up closer to your level. Okay, so depending on the length of the marriage and the income disparity, alimony could range from $500 to $5,000 a month, potentially lasting for several years. If you live in the state of California, you have to pay alimony for life. If you get divorced in California, you could be on the hook for alimony for life. Okay. So estimated total cost, and this is all ballpark, right? It could be more than this. It could be less than this. It really depends on your income, right? But on average, we're talking about national averages here, $60,000 to $600,000 over time, right? Me personally, I ended up paying my ex-wife while I was paying her spousal maintenance or whatever. I paid her over $100,000 in the time that I had to pay her. Right. I was paying her about $20,000 a year. And my attorney, luckily, my attorney was able to negotiate it down because in the state of Colorado, it was automatically and I don't know if it's changed, but at that time, it was half the time of the marriage she was owed. So we were married for 14 years. That meant I was supposed to pay her alimony for 7 years. My attorney got her to negotiate it down to 5 years. And then the first 2 years I paid her max. And then the last 3 years we did step down, right? Because by that time she should have been able to get a job, right? But the thing is that in the state of Colorado, because there's a maintenance formula in place, that means that if she wants it, she gets it. The only way out of it is if she declines it, right? The next one here is child support payments. Now, this one is a big deal because you don't even have to be married. You don't even have to be married. If you decide, okay, marriage isn't for me, and marriage is a bad deal for men, and okay, that's cool, but then you have kids, you're still stuck with the state's going to ensure that those kids get taken care of. Okay, as they should. Like if they're your kids, they're your biological DNA. I think that's good. Men need to take care of their kids, I think, right? But it doesn't matter if you're married or not. You're not getting out of it. The state's going to ensure that you pay for your kids, right? So child support varies by state, but can range from $300 to $2,000 per child per month. Okay. Depending on income and custody arrangements. A lot of when it comes to custody arrangements, it's all about overnights, right? So like how many overnights do you get with them? That's typically how that works. Hold on. I got a whole bunch of windows open that I need to close here, or otherwise I'm going to get notifications. It's going to stop the show very much like this did. Now, so it says here $300 to $2,000 per child, depending on income and custody arrangements. So the estimated cost there is $36,000 to $480,000 until the child turns 18 in most states. In Colorado, you have to pay for your kids until they are 19 years old. So they are due child support all the way through their 18th year. Okay, then they age out at 19. My daughter turned 19 in January. And so I was like, oh, cool. Now I get to reduce the cost of child support, that I'm paying. And so I reached out to Child Support Services and they go, oh, no, now we got to reevaluate your income. And oh, by the way, we also adjust for inflation. And oh, we see that you make a shitload more money now than you did the last time we evaluated this. So no, we're going to keep it the same. We're going to keep it the same. I'm like, so I'm still paying, I'm paying the same amount for one child that I was paying for two childs for the last 5 years or so. So it's never ending. Like the state doesn't want you to pay less. And there's a great documentary on this. I can't think of it. But it's all about the marriage machine and how states actually, by being the brokers, right, by taking your payment through the child support registry and then paying out, doing payouts from it, they're able to keep that money in an account that grows interest at a crazy amount. So states may actually make a lot of money on it. Plus the feds pay states a certain amount of money to manage all this process. So the states are making a lot of money by keeping people paying child support. It's a money-making operation for the state. There's no incentive for them to have you step down your payments. You see what I'm saying? It's a whole big scam. Let's see here. So while we take a break on that idea, let you marinate on that stuff. So most people understand that. They're like, okay, alimony, child support, that's probably it. We haven't even scratched the surface on this yet. But guys, while you're thinking about that, do follow me on social media. The links are in the description. Unless you're on Facebook, Facebook won't let me. They set a limit on links in the description, so I have to remove that. But you're already following me on Facebook. You might as well follow me everywhere else. If you're on Facebook, if you go to the link in my description, you can find like all the other social media platforms. I'm on the TikTok. I do the TikTokies. I don't do dancing that often. Sometimes I do. Get on the email list.comeonmanpod.com. Get my free ebook, She's Made You Weak. It talks about the betatization process and how attraction typically erodes over time. It's a subconscious process that women do. And then if you don't know what she's doing and how to handle it, you're going to start appearing weaker to her. She's going to emasculate you more, and then she's going to lose attraction for you. Like once you become so betatized, she's going to be like, ugh, I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. Right. So you got to learn to have a little bit of a backbone, and that's what she wants. Right. She's testing you not to be, a raging bish. Right. I was just on a podcast yesterday, and the guy was like, you're making a lot of generalizations here. You're making it sound like women do this evil thing. And I was like, he was like, well, there's good women out there that don't do this. I go, no. The good women do this too, and it's not that they're doing it because they're evil women. It's a part of their evolutionary programming. They have to test you to see if you're the strong masculine man that could protect and provide for her kids. Right. It's from our evolutionary psychology. And the thing is that in our modern culture, we're not dealing with lions and tigers and bears anymore so much, right? So it's really easy for guys to fall into complacency and not be that guy for her. And over time, that weakness causes her to lose attraction for you. She doesn't know why herself. She doesn't even know why. And then you're like, I don't know what happened, man. I guess I better hit the gym again. Right? When she dumps you. I just put a social media post out today talking about, guys going to the gym after breaking up, and they're like, well, what are your goals? And they're like, I want her to regret ever dumping me and stuff. It's like, well, why did you stop working out in the first place, dude? Anyway, guys, I have some books out. Everything I wish I knew when I was 18. It's a handbook for life. It also will teach you the psychology of attraction, how to date efficiently, how to find these good girls. It's more about testing for interest and testing a woman's ability to follow your lead, though. And then I also show you how to not overlook red flags, how to spot red flags based on your own criteria, right? I could give you a list of 20 red flags to look out for a woman, but red flags are really subjective. I could say, oh, women with tattoos are a major red flag, but you might be a guy that likes tattoos. I actually happen to like tattoos. So red flags are subjective, but I have an exercise in the book to show you to sit down and figure out what you want in women, what you won't tolerate. That list of what you won't tolerate really will highlight the red flags for you. And the list is law. As long as you don't ever compromise your values that you've put down on this list, you're not going to end up in relationships you shouldn't be in. Okay. So get that book, Everything I Wish I Knew When I Was 18. And then The Essential Skills of a Masculine Presence Psychology Paradigm will help you rewire your mindset to have more of a dominant leader, masculine presence in your relationship. So check that out. And then, guys, join the beer club, beer.comeonmanpod.com. It's the best damn men's group on the planet. We are having our December meetup tomorrow night.
Here's a harsh truth that everybody gets upset about online when I say it. They get upset because of their ego investment into the fairy tale idea of love and partnership. They get upset because of their ego investment into the idea that their woman is their best friend, their confidant, and they think that love will conquer all, and that their woman will be there through thick and thin. The truth is that as a man, your woman is hardwired biologically and psychologically to want you to be her rock. It doesn't work the other way around. Women do not care about your struggles as a man. They may think they care. They may even want to care, but her evolutionary DNA will not let her care. If you bring her your problems, she will lose attraction for you over time, and she will leave. Now, whenever I talk about this, people lose their minds and start talking about men unaliving themselves. The faster that men learn that women don't care about our struggles, the faster we'll save the lives of men. Men off themselves because of their own ego investments in the Disney fairy tale lie. And when that fairy tale goes up in flames, they get zeroed out and they end things. Men do need a proper outlet for dealing with their problems, but going to their woman isn't the answer. Men need a tribe. They need a brotherhood. That's why I created my beer club. It's a monthly virtual hangout for men only. It's a place where men can be men. It's a place where men can talk about guy stuff without having to worry about offending women. It's a place where they can go without having to worry about being called toxically masculine. It's a place where they can go to solve their problems. Because men solve problems. Women cause problems, you dig? Visit beer.comeonmanpod.com. That's beer.comeonmanpod.com to sign up.
Yes, indeed. Brother Matt Kilborn, he's one of my 3% brothers. He says, my ex took me off child support. She had to sign documents saying I didn't promise or coerce her anything. I'm grateful she's decent, and I know this is an exception to the rule. That's fortunate, man. That's really fortunate. When I was out dating and spinning plates out here on the western slope of Colorado, I actually met a handful of women that were like, I didn't ask him for anything. I didn't ask for I didn't ask for some of those women. I mean, they were getting child support. I don't really fault women for getting that child support, but they didn't ask for alimony, right? They're like, I just want it out. And I'm like, that's admirable. You know what I mean? But here's the next problem, right? The next cost here is legal fees, right? So attorney fees can range from $200 to $500 per hour, with total costs for a contested divorce often ranging from $10,000 to $50,000 or more. So the estimated total cost is between $10,000 and $50,000. Okay. Now, here's the thing. If it really gets drug out and she's constantly taking you back and you're constantly want to stick it to her, that could go up to easily $80,000 to $100,000. Okay. And then if you make a lot of money, if you're a six-figure earner, like that could be even more, right? It could be even more. But like Matt was saying here, his wife at least took him off child support, right? Well, here's the thing. You might not think that your wife is going to gouge you for some of this stuff, all right? And she might not initially want to. But when she gets her own attorney, all right, and maybe you're like, she can't afford an attorney. Maybe she can't, but maybe her parents can get one for her, or maybe her aunts and uncles, right? Maybe she calls her family members and they all pool their money and do a GoFundMe to finance her attorney. Once she gets an attorney in her ear and he explains to her all the cash and prizes she's entitled to by state law, they start changing their tune a lot, right? And then when the attorneys are persuasive saying, you need this for your kids. You need to get as much as you can. This isn't about you. This is about the children, right? Like they really start getting into that. Your wife starts getting a little more aggressive, right, with her demands and what they can get. My ex, she went to college. She had a college degree. I knew how much she was able to make potentially because of previous jobs she had before we had kids. But her attorney was like, no, we're going to try to get you the max amount we can based on the formula. And that means that we are going to claim that you can only make minimum wage because you were a stay-at-home mom for so long that there's no possible way that anyone in the workforce would hire you, right? So then I had to pay an extra like $700, $750, I can't remember how much, to have a vocational assessment done on her by some professional, court-viewed guy that, went and interviewed her, gathered her resumes, because I had copies of her resumes saved on my computer. I had previous tax statements that showed how much she made and all this kind of stuff, right? So we gathered all this together, and then he interviewed her based on her skill set and was like, no, we argue that she can make this much amount of money, right? I had to pay for that to prove in court that she can make more than minimum wage, right? Just to try to get my alimony and child support reduced. Because the way Colorado does it, and most states do this, is they impute an income on a person, right? So just because she doesn't work doesn't mean that the state won't impute a higher income based on her potential to earn more. That's why a lot of guys think that they can get out of alimony by like quitting their job and living like a hobo. The The state will go, no, you made this much money at one time. That means you can do it again. That means that we are imputing this income on you, saying that this is how much you can earn and this is how much you owe, right? And so now you're stuck. Now you're a slave because you have to go and work in order to pay off this stuff that the state now says you have to pay, right? It's basically legal indentured servitude, right? So that's legal fees. Okay. They get expensive, right? And then some cases, your wife's attorney is going to argue that, hey, you need to pay for her attorney now, right? Some other costs you might not think about is therapy or counseling costs for you and or your children, right? So individual therapy costs can range from $100 to $200 per session, and children's therapy may also be required. So weekly sessions for a year could cost around $10,000. So let's say that a lot of people, man, divorce isn't just, and we're going to have episodes coming out on this, right, in the upcoming weeks, maybe even next week. We're going to talk about the emotional costs of divorce. So today we're talking about the financial costs. There's opportunity costs. There's emotional costs to this, right? The emotional cost, it causes some guys to unalive themselves, right? They put a lot of ego investment into their relationship. And when that relationship ends, they think, oh, I've lost my soulmate. I lost my kids. Everything's over. And then they unalive themselves. Okay. That's why the red pill space is important. It teaches men there's a way forward, right? Well, some of those guys, who, luckily, hopefully, get some help mentally for their mental state and their emotional anguish, and they go and get some kind of professional help, right? Whether it's with a coach or with some kind of therapist. Okay. Really, you got to pick your therapist, because a lot of therapists, they treat men the same way they treat women. It's not very helpful, right? Men do better with action, taking actions, right, than they do talking out their feelings like women. But there's costs involved to that, right? And so also, you don't even think about this. You're like, okay, well, I could do without that. I could join Paul's beer club and talk it out with the boys, once a month over beers. And that is helpful for guys, right? But what about your kids? What about your kids, right? A lot of kids go through a lot of emotional turmoil when their households split. And now they start acting out in school. They start acting up, right? This whole time you guys have been fighting, they've witnessed a terrible relationship dynamic, right? And so now they need help. So now there's costs involved with getting your kids help, right? Sometimes kids need a lot of emotional help with that, right? That cost can add up, right? So you're looking at $5,000 to even $20,000, depending on how long you're going to be doing that kind of therapy or coaching or whatever, right? Speaking of coaching, when you look at some of these costs, working with a coach to fix the problem is a drop in the bucket. Okay. And people worry about the cost so much, but they don't think about the cost of doing nothing. What we're talking about today is the cost of doing nothing, the cost of just letting things play out. And most guys have no idea this is coming. They have no idea, right? They're like, yeah, she's not putting out very much. Yeah, we argue all the time, but that's just the nature of the beast. That's just what happens in long-term relationships. And they have no idea the financial hurricane that's coming their way. But it could be fixed. You don't have to live, just because you're married doesn't mean you have to be miserable. All right. If you learn valuable relationship skills, how to maintain attraction in the long term, how to set the tone and lead your relationship, you can turn this dynamic around, stop having arguments, start having more sex. You can fix this. Okay. But don't wait until it's past the point of no return. And now you're talking to attorneys, because now the financial cost is going to be astronomical and you could have avoided all of that. Okay. If that's you, if you're in a place where you're in constant arguments with your wife, or even worse, she doesn't even talk to your ass anymore, and you guys are sleeping in separate rooms. All right. She's not putting out anymore. She maybe gives it to you, on your birthday, if you're lucky. All right. Those are warning signs, brother. Like, book a free call with me. Let's fix this shit before you have to pay hundreds of thousands of fucking dollars. All right. Book a call. Go to call.fixedadbedrooms.com. All right. All right. Oh, hey, Nuke's in the house. Hello. Yes. Yes. Hello, Nuke. Let's talk about loss of shared assets, right? So dividing assets like the family home, retirement accounts, other shared property can result in a significant financial hit, right? Often losing half or more of the value. Let's say you were smart. Let's say that you read a book like this, 20 years ago, and you started working on your finances and you've built up a pretty fucking nice nest egg. By the way, this isn't just about getting pussy, all right? This is about building your wealth and retiring financially free. It's a handbook for life. But let's say you read that, you have this really nice fucking nest egg up that you've built up over the years. You're debt free, you own your house, all this kind of stuff. Your wife's entitled to half that shit, even if she didn't contribute to any of it. Right? Let's say you have $500,000 in your 401k. She's entitled to half that shit. That's 20 years of fucking scratching and clawing and saving your money, and half of it is gone in an instant. Right? A lot of people don't think about that. Your house, man, your house. So when I got divorced, we had sold our house. This was a part of my wife's exit strategy, right? She was planning this the whole time. But we sold our house and we ended up making, I think like $40,000 in profit from that house. And what my idea was that we were going to move here to Colorado, go look for houses on the eastern slope, like over by Denver. And then we were going to look for houses over there and then use that money that we made on the sale of our house from California to put down on a new house over in the Denver area. That was the plan. But when she filed for divorce, she took half of that. She took it right out of my account, took half of it. Luckily, she didn't take all of it. She could have stole all of it. And it would have been damn near impossible to get it back because my attorney's like, possession's 9/10 of the law, and she did have access to that account. So because she had access to that account, it would be near impossible to get that money back. So luckily, she only took half, but she took half that fucking money. Right. And then ran to Denver with the kids. And I had to, in order to get her to come back with the kids so I could see my kids again, I had to rent her a house out in town here. Right. And then I had to stay with my parents while I was renting her a house. Right. And then she used that half money to sort of live off of because she didn't want to work. And so she used that money to live off of that whole year. And also the attorney told her, don't work. Whatever you do, don't get a job right now because we have to be able to show that you can't get work. Right. And so that way we can make him pay more. Right. That was the whole strategy. And then, of course, as soon as the divorce finalized, she went out and got a fucking job and actually started making decent money. It was like, fucking motherfucker. Anyway, a lot of people don't think about that. Right. The loss of your shared assets. Gone. Half the shit that you've worked so hard for up to this point, fucking gone in an instant. Relocation costs, right? So renting a new apartment or buying a new home plus moving expenses could cost $5,000 to $15,000, especially if the man also has to contribute to his ex-wife's housing. So like I did, not only did I have to rent her a house, but living with my parents was a fucking nightmare. So I finally got sick of that and was like, all right, I got to go get my own place, and had to go get my own place in town. So for a while, for that first year, well, I would say probably 9 or 10 months of that year, I was renting two fucking houses, right? All that costs. And then, after we got alimony and child support worked out, I only had to pay that, which was still astronomical. But I didn't have to also, on top of that, rent the house. She could use that money now to rent the house, but still, it was crazy. And then furnishing a new home. Okay. Now, this is the thing I said at the very beginning. I said this one cost me $20,000 alone and put me $20,000 in credit card debt. Because I said I had half that money to, from the sale of my house. All that went to attorney's fees. Right. And so then I also had to move into my own apartment and refurnish the place because she took all the furniture. Right. Well, furnishing a new place. So after divorce, many men must buy new furniture and household items. This could cost $10,000 to $30,000. So I was like right there in the middle. about $20,000 in credit card debt to buy my kids beds, mattresses, TVs for the house, couches. This desk is still one of the desk I bought after the divorce, right? I had to buy all this shit just so I could live my life again, right? And because she took like all that stuff. So you're looking at $10,000 to $30,000, depending on the lifestyle and preferences. Luckily, I'm a little bit of a minimalist. So as a minimalist, I still had to pay $20,000 to refurnish my place, right? So you're looking, $10,000 to $30,000. What's Nuke say? Running from the internet police. Oh yes. Yeah. Nuke, if you guys didn't know, he's getting hammered there on X. Man, that tweet got community guidelines, right? So that means no money from it. Isn't that a bitch, dude? Millions and millions of views and no payout. Fucking bullshit. I knew it was going to happen to you though. I fucking knew it was going to happen. Because it happened to me when I did the Scarlett Johansson tweet. Same thing happened. Like, that's one of the shitty things about X, right? They're like, if you do rage bait, that's a violation of their payout policy. So all people have to say is, hey, we think this is rage bait, right? This is rage engagement, and boom, you're not getting paid. Okay, so we talked about furnishing a new home, maintaining two households, right? So supporting two households, including your ex-wife's, through spousal and child support could double living expenses. Right. And that's essentially what I was doing. I did that for years. Right. And even though so my now ex-wife met her current husband a year after the split, they got together and he ended up moving out here and living with her, and he worked and she worked. So they basically had two potential incomes coming into that household. But she was entitled to my money, so she also got my money. So I was basically supplementing their lifestyle. What a fucking kick in the nuts, right? I'm maintaining two fucking households here, and even though they have their own money, it's like, Jesus, man. Like, I don't understand that. Just like as a guy, right? Like, if let's say I was a guy who made less than my wife for whatever reason. I got her and she was a sugar mama, and she, I had her pay me alimony for a little while and some child support to help with expenses with the kids and stuff. And then I went out and got married to a new sugar mama. Like I couldn't, just with my own moral values, couldn't accept her money anymore. Like, no, I've got a new sugar mama now, but no, like women are plenty happy to take your fucking money, right? Oh boy. So maintaining two households, that's you're paying for her house, your spousal, child support, all that kind of stuff. That could be $40,000 to $120,000 a year, a fucking year, right? Depending on the situation. Health insurance. So losing coverage. So let's say this probably doesn't happen to men too much. But let's say you're on your wife's insurance, right? Maybe you make more money, but her company has a better insurance policy. So you're on her insurance policy. So losing coverage under a spouse health insurance can mean paying for a new plan, which could now cost you $300 to $1,000 more per month that you didn't have to pay before. Okay. So the estimated cost there is $3,600 to $12,000 a year, right? Most guys, I think, are paying for their health insurance. So that's probably not something you have to deal with, but you never know. Some people have different setups, right? And then you have retainer fees for court battles over child custody. So this is separate. The child custody battles are separate. Like, I mean, they're sort of related to the divorce, but they're often separate, and they often come up later down the road, right? So I'll mention my brother, my beer club brother, Nathan, here in a minute. But if the child custody battle is contested, additional legal retainers could cost $5,000 to $20,000 per round of litigation. That means every time you have to go back to court to fight this shit, right? Total cost $5,000 to $20,000 just to fight for your fucking kids. Okay. Now, a lot of people think that when the divorce is over, that, okay, cool. Well, man, that sucked. I paid a lot of money, but at least it's behind me. Brother. My ex-wife, 2 years after the divorce was finalized, took me back to court for a child custody battle, right? And the reason why wasn't because it was in the best interest of the kids. It was because her new husband didn't originally want to move out here, right? So I mentioned how he ended up moving out here, and I'm supporting 2 households. He didn't originally want to move out here. He has a union job. He's a pipe fitter or something. And he was working in Denver doing, construction work. And he didn't want to have to pack up and move out here because his union didn't have a presence out here. And if he started working out here for a construction company, then his union wouldn't let him keep his pension, right? So he didn't want to move out here. He wanted her to move out there. Well, because we filed for a divorce out here and we have a 50-50 split of custody, she can't move without either me relinquishing my custody or her relinquishing her custody, right? So 2 years later, he's trying to convince her to move back to Denver. She starts using my son's asthma problems and stomach. It was his asthma problems and stomach ulcers, because he developed stomach ulcers because of his asthma inhaler. We didn't know it at the time, but he was developing stomach ulcers. This little 3-year-old kid, man, he was in misery. And she was like, we can't get good healthcare out here on the Western Slope. There's no medical treatment facilities out here that specialize in child, gastro, there's no child gastroenterologists out here. And luckily at that time I was dating Red Pill Chick, and Red Pill Chick worked for the general surgeon's office out here. And so she had her finger on the pulse of everything medical out here. And she was like, that's not true. There's actually a pediatric gastroenterologist that comes to town every week, right? They come here, they fly in from Denver and work with kids out here once a week. So she gave me the information for that office. And I had to not only re-engage my attorney, start paying him a fucking retainer again to help me with this, but she filed a motion with the court to start the mediation process. So we also had to hire a mediator again. And then she engaged her attorney, right? And so what my attorney advised me, he goes, well, you have to establish that there's a medical presence out here for a child or for a pediatric gastroenterologist. So for an entire fucking year, I had to pay her doctor in Denver medical fees. I also had to pay to have a doctor out here see my son. And the doctor out here was like, I don't really want to get involved in this. I was like, I go, we can follow whatever their doctor recommends. I don't care. I just have to establish that you're here, right, for court. And I go, I hate to put you in the middle of this, and I'm happy to pay you your follow-up fees and stuff like that. But I had to pay for 2 doctor's visits frequently, right? The thing is that the doctor out here figured out what the fucking problem was, right? And we had to get my son scoped. I had to pay for a scope operation where they put him under and they run a scope down into his stomach to figure out what's going on. He tested negative for H. pylori and stuff, like, so it was like there was something going on, and they thought it was stress. They thought it was stress from the divorce and stress from the whatever. It wasn't. It ended up being his inhaler. He has a daily inhaler that he takes for his asthma, and that's one of the known side effects. So anyway, the doctor out here figured that out and told us, okay, either get him off that medicine or at least make sure he rinses his mouth out really good when he takes it. And so we just took him off the medicine, and then we gave him this stuff called Carafate that lines his stomach, and it healed up in like 2 weeks, right? But it was the doctor out here that did that. But I had to pay for both for an entire fucking year. And then when we went to mediation, after paying my attorney and paying for the mediator, she didn't get to have custody of the kids. Basically, the mediator said, look, in the state of Colorado, you can move to Denver. You have every right, but you can't take the kids with you. And you're not able to establish a good enough reason to take the kids now. Right. Because I fought to have, prove that there's a doctor out here. Right. But that cost me so much fucking money, right? So that's just child custody. I mentioned my beer club brother, Nathan. Beer club brother Nathan went through one of the most horrendous child support or child custody battles I've ever seen. If you go back through the archives of the podcast, I interviewed him. It was an absolute nightmare for him. It lasted years, and it ended up being where one of his kids passed away during that ordeal. And then his wife basically argued to split the children up. So his two remaining kids, I think his son went with him and his daughter went with the wife, right? So his son and daughter never hang out together anymore. And he gets visitation with his daughter like once a month, or I don't know how often it is, but it's not very often. He gets like 2 days with her or something. And then same thing, the son has to go visit the mom for like 2 days or something like that. Well, now he just a couple of months ago told Beer Club that she's bringing him back to court because now she doesn't want him to even see the daughter anymore. Right? Like, isn't that fucking crazy? It's just a never ending bullshit until your kids age out of this, right? That's when you could finally be done with this. But let's say you have kids that are young, right? When I first got divorced, my son, well, see, when he was having his ulcer thing, he might've been 4 or 5 at the time. I can't remember, but my kid, my boy was young, man, and I happening to just constantly wait until when's the next fucking court battle, right? I was so excited back in 2019. 2019 is when the alimony finally ended, right? And I was so excited. I was like, finally, because at that time I was paying child support and alimony, but without the alimony, the child support was nominal, dude. It was like $200 a month or something, right? It was nothing. And so I was so excited to finally get, be able to start living my life again, because I didn't have to pay her $20,000 a fucking year. I got now have $20,000. I basically got a $20,000 a year raise. It's great. Well, so that happened, in 2019. The very next year, she took me back to court saying, well, now that I'm not getting alimony, we need to reevaluate this child support. So my child support went up from like, $150, $200 a month to like $900 a month or something fucking crazy. Right. I was like, what the actual fuck? It was, that's what she was asking for. No, I'm sorry. They were asking for $1,100 a month. That's what they were asking for. And so I took her back to court to fight that, saying, no, now she has a job. She can make more money, all this kind of stuff. And they did drop it down to like $750 a month or something like that. But I basically been paying $750 a month since then. For my kids. And then when I thought my daughter was aging out this year, they're like, oh, no, you just keep paying that. Like, fucking hell. So I have 4 more years until my son ages out. And then I can finally put this shit behind me. Right. But that's a long fucking time. It's a lot of fucking money. You guys don't even realize this shit. You guys don't even realize this stuff, man. And if things are somewhat good and you love your wife and you're starting to see some of these red flags, that her attraction's starting to decrease, right? She's not having sex with you anymore. You guys are fighting all the time. Man, you can avoid all this stuff. You could fucking avoid all this stuff if you just learn how to set the tone, lead your relationship, how to re-engage her, how to reestablish that attraction. Okay. But most of you guys fall on complacency and you think this is just how life is. It doesn't fucking have to be this way. It certainly doesn't have to be this fucking painful. All right. If you're there, this is your wake up call, man. Okay. Book a free call with me. Go to call.fixedbedrooms.com. All right. Let's get this shit turned around so you don't have to pay all this fucking money. All right. All right. Get off my soapbox for a minute. Guys, that's what I wanted to get through you guys today. So that was just the top 10 financial costs, right? There could be so much more to this, so much more. But I really want you to think about that, right? If you're already married, it behooves you to fix things. Okay. If you have gotten past the point of no return and now you're divorced, like I recommend not getting the government involved in your relationships going forward. Okay. You don't need to even, you can avoid all this by just not getting Uncle Sam involved in your long-term relationships. Right. So hopefully that gives you guys some things to think about. Tune into the podcast on Friday. We are going to continue with Frame Fridays. Okay. Frame is everything. There's a reason why it's Iron Rule of Tomasi #1. That's why I'm keeping Frame Fridays as a special podcast day, right? Just dedicated to mindset, emotional control, all that kind of stuff. And what we're going to start for the next 10 weeks, we're going to start this on Friday, is we're going to start going through Brother AJ's book, The Essential Skills of a Masculine Presence, Psychology, Emotion. And it's all about emotional durability. And AJ chose to write that because he's gone through more coaching than a lot of guys in the space. He's completely turned his life around, just doing the work, learning how to apply this information and running with it. And AJ is just a really good wealth of information, even if he doesn't think so sometimes. And so he's supposed to join me on Friday to at least go over chapter 1, which is all on understanding what emotional durability really means, right? And so we're going to talk about that. Hopefully he could join me. If not, we'll just go over the top concepts of that. But we're going to go basically through his book for the next 10 weeks. And I highly encourage you guys to go out and get this book. Get all the books in the Essential Skills of a Masculine Presence series. I have one too, Psychology Paradigm. But when we're going through this book, I suggest you guys go out and get it on Amazon and read through it as we go through it. Okay. I think it's going to be beneficial to so many men out there. A lot of guys, their problems in their relationship, some of it is because of their own emotional control, right? Their wife is shit testing them and they lose their shit, right? Or they build up a lot of resentment. That resentment is like an emotion. Well, that anger and resentment that you have for your wife because she's not doing what you think she should be doing because you're too busy operating in what we call covert contracts, that builds up over time. And that tension, she can fucking sense that. Right? There's a guy I had a breakthrough call with last week on Friday, and he's going through the divorce. He's been a stay-at-home dad for years, so he hasn't worked. His wife's actually offering him a pretty nice settlement. I'm like, just take it, bro. Like, take it, learn the lesson, and you're coming out of this pretty well unscathed compared to what most guys go through. So take the offer. But one of the things I've noticed just in my interactions with him in the comments, chatting with him in DMs and stuff like that, is that this guy got to this place because of his fucking attitude. Like, he is so resentful of his wife and so angry that I guarantee every interaction with him for her is probably painful. Like, she even told him, like, look, you are so negative. I need you to like go live with go stay with your folks for like the weekend, right? Just get away from me. If your girl is telling you that because you're just walking around like a fucking basket of bag of anger, she can feel that shit. No one wants to be around that. All right. So if you can learn some emotional durability, you can get some of that shit under control and fix that. Okay. All right. Whoo. You ever just rant for like a fucking hour? Okay, guys, that's all I have for this episode. Do be sure to like, subscribe, hit those notifications. I have new episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Thanks for everyone that sounded off of the chat today. I appreciate you guys. There's 40 people watching, so please smash that like button. There should be at least 40 likes on this video. No super chats today. That's disappointing, but that's fine. Because if you're heading for a divorce, you're going to need that money. All right. And then, guys, follow me on social media. The links are in the description. Get on the email list, list.comeonmanpod.com. Get the free ebook, She's Made You Weak. That can give you some serious insights in what's going on in your girl's mind. If you've noticed that she's not putting out very much anymore, she says like, I love you, but I'm not in love with you. Okay, get the ebook. All right, at the very least. And then I've been emailing guys who sign up for the email list, daily tips on ways they can start changing that dynamic in their relationship. All right. There's some value there. Get my two books, Everything I Wish I Knew When I Was 18 and Psychology Paradigm. If you go to books.comeonmanpod.com, you can get them both in paperback, hardcover, Kindle, and even on Audible. If you listen to audiobooks, RP Thor read the first book, Everything I Wish I Knew When I Was 18, but I did the narration for Psychology Paradigm. So check that out. If you like the author's buttery, sultry voice, if you prefer that, definitely listen to Psychology Paradigm. I put a lot of work into that. And let's see here. Beer Club meetup tomorrow night. Guys, if you are not in Beer Club, I suggest joining now. It's a free trial. You don't have to pay anything. Show up for the call tomorrow night. See if you like hanging out with us. See if you like the interaction. All right. It's nothing heavy. It's just guys getting together, talking about guy shit. Okay. If you do have something heavy, cool. We're there for you. But I don't want you to feel like this is, you're expected to go there and share your emotions and shit like that. You can just go there and be a wallflower. In fact, most guys do. They don't even turn on their camera half the time. But a lot of guys do participate, and there's a lot of value there. But the real value is in the Telegram community. So get in the group, beer.comeonmanpod.com. Join us tomorrow night. And then, guys, seriously, your wife's bitchy behavior, your wife not putting out anymore, these are all warning signs. And you can start turning things around. Okay. Don't ignore this shit. All right. Don't ignore this shit at all. All right. Book a free call with me. It's fucking free. All right. Go to call.fixedadbedrooms.com. Let's talk about your situation. All right, guys. That's all I got. We will see you on Friday.
This has been the Come On Man podcast. Now, go out and get it.